64 Tacos Podcast presents Is This Song Good? This is episode 67. U2, Mysterious Ways, live.
Welcome back to another episode of Is This Song Good? A 64 Tacos podcast. We are doing live versions of songs with this season. And the song this week is a song I chose. It's Mysterious Ways, which is a very well-known U2 song from Achtung Baby.
I've heard it.
I think it was the first single, I think. And this is a recording from 93. This is actually taken from a live DVD that I got back in the 90s. Zoo TV Live from Sydney is what it's called. This is just lifted. The audio is just lifted straight from the well, I have the VHS version. It's lifted from that. And it was just, I think it was about it's somewhere in the middle of the show. And what I thought was, this is probably my favorite U2 album, Achtung Baby. And I really, really was into U2 like back in high school. And then I kind of let them go for a while when I lost interest around 2000 in their newer recordings.
And music stopped happening.
No, that's probably what happened. Hard to say for sure. But they were putting out albums that I didn't care about, so I kind of stopped listening to U2 for a while. And I went back to it later, and I have found that this album is still Achtung Baby sounds just as good to me now as it did when I was 12 or 13 when I first heard it. And I played the crap out of this VHS. I watched it dozens of times. So I could have chosen any of the performances. What I liked about this specific performance is that how much they changed the song and made it feel different. It's not a perfect vocal performance or anything, but I think one of the things that U2 does well is live is they rework their songs, they add stuff, they add new lyrics, they'll add new instrumentation. They'll just kind of make things fresh and different to varying degrees. And I chose this one because it's sort of, I think, one of the most different versions from the concert. You guys obviously know Mysterious Ways. Had you ever watched this live from Sydney VHS or DVD at any point?
It wouldn't surprise me if we watched it once together. So I can't say for sure, but
I don't think we did.
No.
Okay. No, I don't think so. I wasn't showing you things ever. So no,
Okay.
I don't think so, but I guess it's possible. But yeah.
But I can say that when we went to the Silverdome in 97 on the Pop Mart tour and saw them play, they put on one of the most amazing shows I've ever seen. And U2 is one of my favorite live bands ever. If I were to go to a live show again, which I hate going to live shows because there are people there.
Yep. The worst.
Everything else I really enjoyed, but if there weren't all they need to perform for me personally. Which makes sense.
Or maybe 70,000 U's in a stadium.
Yeah. People who just sit quietly and don't push me around. Anyway.
Dave hasn't left the house in 14 years. That's really what I'm saying.
I haven't.
If you had your way, that's exactly how it would be.
I could go in any time, all right? But yeah, U2 they're phenomenal live. Just their stage, the whole band's got incredible stage presence. This song is no exception to that, and I loved it. I loved listening to it. The variations they made on the song, just a lot of fun. Zach, what did you think?
So I hadn't been exposed to this version or the live VHS before. But it's really cool because like you can feel that they're enjoying themselves. They're having a good time. They're just playing with the groove, like they've got the central theme of the song going, and then they just kind of play around, whether it's adding a little drum parts there, whether it's Edge doing all kinds of stuff on the guitar. I thought he overused the phaser effect a little bit, but that's that's just probably what he does in the live live stage, he's just gonna throw on effects and make it the way he wants it. But the recording itself, like the drums were a little bit thin sounding. It was that was like the only kind of part that, like, everything else seemed fine. It's never going to be as perfect as in the studio. And then I really liked the outro, how they kind of just let it loose, for the last 20, 30 seconds. And this is a really cool version. It's a nice alternative way to hear the song that, I mean, we all grew up with and adored on the album Octung Baby.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like, they used some sampling, obviously, live. Like, when the whole first 5-10 seconds is just a sample that they're playing over. When they were starting to get into that in that era, the sort of Octung Baby, and I think this came out right around maybe after the Zooropa album came out, which I think they just banged out kind of right after the tour, and then went right back out again to keep it running along. Yeah. But I thought the piano was a cool addition that isn't on the actual, album version. And you're right. The outro it's like, that's entirely bonus. That's all new, essentially. There's nothing in the original song. And hey, there's some slide guitar. We talked about that in that's some slide guitar I can get behind. I mean, it's a very different sound, of course, but it sort of elevates the song to, you're like, oh, that was a pretty good version. And you're like, oh, and then there's this, kind of tacked on the end. But
and while the drums were, kind of distracting at times with the sound, I did really love the sound of Adam Clayton's bass. And I think he's like one of the unsung heroes of the band, because I think he doesn't get enough credit. And I think oftentimes his bass parts get kind of muted or they're kind of lower in the mix than they should be.
Well, he uses the old ultra low end, no high end bass tone, which, for better or worse, I think maybe it adds, it makes in the mix it's good, but like, it doesn't jump out. But this is a really cool bass line.
It was.
It doesn't come in on it doesn't come in on one. It just has to sort of like rolling feel like, and it's not what you would. It's not like With or Without You, where he's just playing along with the chords. You know what I mean? Like, it's an interesting bass line, and it does jump out more. There's a little more grit to the bass too. Like, it feels like there's a little more high end than you would normally hear from a very muddy, jazzy sort of sounding bass line that you often get from Adam Clayton. All right. Any more thoughts, Dave or Zach?
No.
Well, if anyone's listening, I would highly recommend the whole Zoo TV Live from Sydney VHS, but only on VHS. I can't speak for the quality of the DVD. It might be crap.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find it on eBay.
Yeah.
What do we have next week, Zach?
Next week we have Pink Floyd's High Hopes.
All right.
Alrighty.
Tune in for that.
I caught it on audio.